think the bet was that I have to leave Brampton if you got more than 100.
Look, man, 300, and there were 300 proud citizens of Brampton who saw positive change.
One
And-
MPP.
Just talking? What's the show about? It's about nothing. It's about nothing.
Just want these guys to know you got another thing coming, bitch. I'm still around.
That's a big deal, man. Yeah.
Yo, man, what were you guys doing yesterday? Were you guys at home, at a hall, or
Like
No, we
after
were
the
home.
election or before?
during the election? Or like, where'd you get the
home.
results?
At home.
At
I mean, I
home.
was watching at home, scrolling. at
Randy,
home.
did you have your whole family around, like in front of the TV?
Everybody's sitting on the couch watching TV. Yeah.
Watching it refresh.
And then, it was like what? It was 30 to 50. She was like, the incumbent was beating me. She had 50% of the vote. I had 30, and it was like what? Like
10:30 was jam done?
70%, yeah, 60 or 70% of the polls were reporting. I was like, yo, I'm not gonna catch her.
You did
So-
better than I thought you would. I thought you were gonna get destroyed.
Really?
So I was very impressed. Because one, I mean, let's take the main fact that Diwali is the big X factor. We can talk about that later on. But, you know, considering if you didn't pull a lot of the Punjabi vote, you did well, I think.
Yeah.
You never checked on your kill sheets, right? Like, I don't know if they had kill sheets on the day of, like the sheet that you get of who voted, like they do for advance. You can download that, and then you can like identify how much your vote has actually voted and how much you still.
Oh, is there? I didn't even look at that. I want to definitely
Okay.
look at that.
So I don't
Call me
even.
out.
So I don't even know if that's still possible now, because I know during advance you could do that, where you would get a
Okay,
list of who voted, and then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
kind of
we did get
cross-reference
that.
there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if one was available for yesterday. This is an interesting "who was too cool to vote" type thing, but that might be
Exactly.
a privacy thing. So maybe they not any
No,
more
it's not. If
privacy
they give it
than
for advance, how is it?
yeah. Yeah, I guess not. So hey, maybe it'll let you know who sold you out. Yeah.
Oh, I don't even know. I mean, look, I know how much of the vote I pulled.
What review? What ward were you in? So for some context, there might be somebody who doesn't actually know who you are.
I'm in 3-4
Yeah, in Brampton.
in Brampton, and the
My
polls
hometown
were
wards,
dead.
low key. Yeah, were they? Eh?
The polls were in like Ray Lawson area were dead at 4:00. Dead.
Wow.
Okay. They were reporting numbers half of what had been cast. Half.
Previously.
I want to stress that point. Half it had what had been cast in last election. Okay, so if a poll last election reported, let's say 550 votes, this year they're reporting like 230. Okay, and that's in the Punjabi areas.
There is a thick Punjabi area.
I mean, I think that's a good topic of discussion in a bit about.
But anyway, so
Yeah.
so for me, it really boiled down to like me, my family, my captains. It really was like whoever we pulled voted. That was about it.
I
I'm
think
gonna-
you guys. I still think your numbers were impressive. I mean,
I want to give some context to your numbers right now, just so that you don't feel too horrible,
Yes.
because you know you're a piece of shit. You pulled more.
way to build them up, Shanda.
You pulled more than Jaskarn did in 7-8, just based on Punjabi population, right?
Yeah, I mean the numbers wise, I guess. Yeah.
And campaign wise, you campaigned 1/3 of the time.
Yeah, 30 days.
1/8, 1/3.
1/8.
That's a lot.
1/8 of the
No,
I'd say
time.
1/8.
Yeah.
All I'm trying to say here is I think you beat
Wait.
Jaskarn in our bet. If Jaskarn was even participating in the bet.
I don't know about like anything else. I definitely be
Yo, guys don't gotta feel too offended.
On low
He's not gonna
budget.
listen. He's not gonna listen to this podcast. We can say
Okay.
whatever we want about him, and he's not gonna know.
No,
It was
okay.
definitely
So
bootstrapped.
let's go to the counselors after, because his was. I was shocked, but we'll talk about that after.
I was like, holy shit, that one
Always
too.
Yeah.
close enough.
Well, there's a bunch of races. I mean, we got to go through all of Brampton. So, in your personal race, Ranji Shinda, how about yours? How did you feel? Were you
I
watching
got
the results?
300. I got 300. I wasn't expecting more than 10. I got 300.
I was confident you hit 100 though. To be honest,
I was okay. So Loki,
I'm surprised at the 100. I ain't gonna lie.
I was doing over 100 on 100.
His email wasn't even active.
he doesn't need. What do you need email for?
No one even knows who he was. It wasn't even Shinda Singh. It was his full name. Like 90% of people know him as Shinda. So who are these 300 people that just they looked at your last name? Must have been.
I was telling my dad that I'm like going to Jut, and then my dad's like, "What? We're not even that high on the Jut list. People aren't going to recognize it from that." He's like, "Most." I was like, "Oh shit." He's like, "Yo, we're not. You're not going to get that pull if that's what you're hoping for." I'm like, "Okay, fine."
I think you got a decent pull considering the amount of work you put in. So if Ranjit's 1/8, you're 132. Not even.
Look, man. What had happened was this date.
The most amount of walking you did, and the most amount of canvassing you did, and the most amount of actual work you did in this entire campaign was going to City Hall to put your application in, and that was it.
Do you know the most votes per dollar spent?
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Do you guys know that I think that $100 is returnable? Like, it's a deposit.
So you're winning. You're winning.
We can get that. We get that 100 back if we submit our financials. I think.
What if you don't submit the financials?
Then you get charged up to $5,000.
Oh well.
Or face jail time.
That would be an interesting turn of events.
Or kicked out of city counts. I mean, I think jail time's extreme on it. I think that's just one of those things they put there as. But they say if you win and you don't submit it, you'll lose your seat. I remember the drama that followed Hakir at the round the first time he ran. But yeah, it's just they just kind of say, look, if you don't do it, you're gonna be in trouble. Do it.
Well, it's tax laws, right? So I mean,
tax laws, yeah.
Election laws. My apologies.
Or whatever.
Yeah. So in our word, obviously, Nirpal didn't win.
Before you say, dude, it killed me how close she was.
Yeah,
crazy. It was crazy. But I mean, we're going to talk about those factors, right? I thought it was a blowout. I thought, like, even to see Will Davies ahead, I was like, how is this guy going to get voted in again? He literally says, he's Shinda, he's the white version of you. He says, I'm not campaigning, I'm not doing signs. People know who I am. And literally that's what happened. 12 candidates. She did pretty well, man. Second place. Only lost by a couple hundred. So it begs the question, Diwali factors and all the factors that obviously led to some of the alterations of the numbers. But I still think she did well, man.
I think she did well. I think
it's impressive against 12 other people. And when you break down the numbers, it's very obvious where we lost the votes in terms of the voting splits from the people that actually voted. You know, there was 2 different Muslim communities. There was another guy, David. He was running a pretty good campaign. He took some votes. There was some votes splitting from Nikki's campaign. So it kept trickling down. So considering all that, I still think she did incredibly well. You know, could have been a lot worse, right?
I don't know why she's not on the pod
I'm not embarrassed. She's obviously down, but she will be on, and we'll bring her on as her own thing, but not to talk shit about the other candidates like I'm going to.
Okay.
This is one of those episodes.
Yeah, it's one of those episodes.
All right.
That's fine.
Get on that soapbox. Let us know exactly how you feel. I don't even know who else was running in my riding. I don't know who the counselors were. I think it was just.
What's the name of the winner of your riding?
I don't know. I don't know.
So I think
the incumbent. I think.
We're a pretty multicultural city. Let's not say we're Punjabi dominant, but I think there's only one Punjabi who voted for school trustee out of the
Southpal Johal.
Southpal Johal. So no one else, not even a visible minority. No, Kathy.
No, Kathy. I think the one who won in not in my writing, but the writing I live, she's a minority, or she's black. Carla. I think she's black. Okay. I think. I don't know. I didn't Google any of these people. I know because I know Kathy was. I know one of the prior ones in my writing. She was a black woman.
But I mean, you know what? I can't hate on people like Kathy or let's say Carla. They probably do good work. I'm only hating on my guy because he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right. And he's literally been in the news for being a racist. He literally has everything against him, and he still was able to pull that many votes. It really makes you think about some of the people in our community. But
I'm actually told that the trustee that we have is a really good one right now in my writing, so I don't even blame. I'm kind of like, glad someone who's doing the job well is there.
And I think it wasn't even the fact that we lost. Honestly, if you asked us, we didn't even care. It's like he won again because our kids go to school in the writing, so we're like, that guy again. Yeah. That's 8 years of that guy. Like anyone else would have been better.
Hold on.
It's like I was on real estate listings right away. I'm like, we gotta leave.
Yeah. We're out.
We're out. But talking about close ridings and close races, I think it was the one we were all watching
9,
right
10?
to the end, 9 and 10, talking about a past history of a candidate, Gurpreet versus
Guru.
Gurpratap, and Guru, whatever you want to call him, counselor, I guess we would say. say
Regional counselor.
Regional counselor.
Counselor.
How did you guys feel about that one? Watching that one go down right to the deadline.
I was curious because it was only it was the difference of 200 votes for the longest time. So I'm like, honestly, one poll can sway this entire thing. Literally 1% was the difference, right? 1.2% or something. It's insane. Lowest voter turnout percent, like in history, but still one of the more significant voter polls. 200 votes, and I was kind of like, are we gonna do that thing where we just call for a recount and then he goes to the lawyers and asks the lawyers to pop open all the boxes and wants to count them?
Wow. Never thought of it that way.
It didn't get officially called till 11 because they said some of the advanced polls numbers they had to like recheck twice or whatever, and it took them long to find those boxes and like find their printouts and confirm them.
And that's probably because the margin was so thin, right? That they
were
wanted to
like
confirm.
They're like, okay, and I think they were even saying for some of those advanced ones, they started counting them manually, just recounting them to confirm.
Oh.
Yeah, because that one was called a lot later than everyone else. But at that time, they had already started partying. I think they had already been like, look.
No. They didn't. Didn't. There were people. So I was there as you were giving your updates about what's going on. And everybody was kind of like, holding their breath.
On
Guru
eggshells.
Guru had just showed up because everybody's like, dude, like you're up 200. It's like 9:30, almost 10 o'clock. Like just show up. So he showed up, and honestly, 5 minutes after, the backlog or whatever the thing was, I'm not going to mention, had cleared. And the numbers updated even for me. It looked like everybody's riding numbers were kind of on hold.
Same thing with us. Yeah, we
One thing
had 4 more.
That one glitch was corrected.
Yeah.
And yeah, because I was holding at 80%, right? And once that cleared and it was like the final numbers came out, there's a big cheer, and yeah.
I was hoping for at the last little few votes to come back like the Undertaker. I was like, no, she's gonna come back. The last few votes, she's gonna come back. But it is what it is. That's politics, right? So
Yeah.
So I will say, shout out to GSR Gurpreet Rai. Me and him had a good conversation about at Guru's party. I was shocked at how many votes Gurpreet got.
It was closer than you would think, right?
I thought at most it would be like a 500.
yeah.
500 vote difference.
Yeah. And I was like, if Gurpreet pulls all the stops and this and that, dude.
But it's
quite
interesting.
an indictment on our community.
No, but see, here's that was a conundrum because we're gonna say, well, is that a judgment by our community? But at the same time, on the other spectrum, we're saying our community didn't vote, right?
Oh,
9 and 10 came out to vote though in our
9 and
community.
10 came out to vote.
9 and 10. But
I
still,
mean,
it was still low vote.
it was still lower than before. It wasn't the same population that came
And if we're
out.
saying, well, Diwali took away some of our votes, so a lot of Gurpreet's numbers were defended by other residents as well.
I mean, let's put this into perspective. He had 14,000 votes last time.
Down.
And now he's down to 52, I think it was.
Wow.
So that's quite a lot of people were saying like he had 14,000, everything goes bad, 50% seems he'll get 7,000. He could still win at 7 was what his campaign was theorizing. Like, let's accept that we're going to lose some, maybe Diwali, maybe some because of the allegations. We'll get 7 at least. Was there?
Do you think it was the allegations then?
To a degree, yes.
So it worked.
I mean, I don't know if it worked so much as people held him accountable to them. It wasn't more, these allegations were made up or
I thought
Whatever.
I
At
thought
the end of the
with
day,
those
he's gonna blame that distraction is what he might call it.
no, but he can blame it. But I think he got more votes than I even expected him to get.
I
That's
thought
what I'm
it was
trying to
higher,
get at.
and that's what I was thinking.
If I was him, I would be like, oh my god. So this is the way I took it. I'm like, okay, I'm happy for Guru, right? But at the same time, there is going to be so much pressure on that guy to do good by the community, to be actively present, because you just told Gurpreet and the community is just giving Gurpreet a pass, saying, hey man, try one more time.
Yeah.
If it was a complete obliteration, Gurpreet would go off into
the sunset.
Bon Voyage and sunset, and that's his political career. you've left the door open, right? And so that's where I was sitting. I'm like, oh damn, like
You know what's
to win a
interesting?
small margin.
So you're saying he didn't take him out.
He didn't take him out.
No,
It's
he
like
didn't take
Ric
him
Flair
out.
says, right?
He's coming back. So this was his vindication. You know, I almost tied. Oh, people are forgot about it. In 4 years, they'll really forget about it. I'll be back. So that's the way I'm looking at it.
It's the old Ric Flair quote, right? You to be the man, you gotta beat the man. And it's a 1% margin of beat. No, it's
No,
No, it's
you know,
not. That's a
two-
decision. In UFC, that's a decision. That's
This-
that's a rematch coming up.
yeah, that's a rematch.
that. And you know what's interesting is, and someone was saying they're like, it sucks when you lose by a small margin. If you lose,
Oh, yeah.
when you get blown out, you're just like, shit, whatever
Vicky
I
Dillon.
did, right?
Vicky Dillon has been going around like throughout this campaign. I've gone to so many events with him. He has the same campaign like thing.
Pitch.
He's like,
Go.
so see, yeah, you know, you're gonna go to work. You're gonna get some patake for the kids. After the kids are done patake, you're gonna do some of your own patake. He's like, don't forget, I lost by 47 votes. He's like, and that 47 number haunts me till this day.
Because you know what that 47 or that 200 even means is you look at the list of voters and you get that list of who didn't vote advanced polls or whatever, and you can identify 200 people you know whose numbers are in your phone, your captains, your close ones. Maybe it's their wife, maybe it's their son, maybe it's their
Neighbors, your
baby.
Pindu, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
You can find 200 on a list that this person was supposed to do it for me, right?
Even in this election, 500 wasn't that much. Even 500, right? The way I look at it is, man, I think we need to change. I mean, we'll get into it in a bit, but with the Desi politics, the uncle politics need to go, man. It's
Yeah, they gotta go.
they cause so much a kind of fog to a candidate, and the candidate gets wrapped up in it. I mean, we didn't go that route, but you could see in other places. And they don't have pull. I'm just gonna come on and say, yeah, they have connections and it's a good community, but actually getting the work done, getting your list, making them captains, what a useless exercise, right? For some people it works. I mean, this election is obvious. No one came.
Yeah.
You know, no, I don't think anyone voted.
Hold on, before we get too negative too much, I want to also give a big shout out to Navjeet Brar. She ran in your riding, the city councillor. She
Yeah,
won.
she ran a hard campaign, but it wasn't the Dissies who got her in. And
No,
I'll
no,
break down on yeah.
It doesn't need a
And
big dissies, but she won, so we got to give her
for sure,
due for that,
100%.
for sure.
You know, after what losing twice for her, I'm very happy that she finally gets to, have her experience in public office. And
Looks-
honestly, they did run an extremely hard race. They were door knocking. And
And you know what it comes down to, though?
Yeah.
The first campaign, now you have a list of people you know in your riding who you can call the
they
next.
had an NDP base. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So now next time you kind of have to build upon each election because your list just gets a little bigger of who you can trust, not even trust, but kind of count on, who you can like bother a little bit more, where your stance can go up quicker. It's
But
just
what's
a data
interesting-
game.
So
in
what's
that sense.
interesting with her and Paleshi kind of did is they just went to every community and became their friends, and it was a
It's
smart play.
politics. That's
No,
politics.
it is.
Right?
It's a complete smart play. But what they did is that they took the school trustee from one of the Muslim communities and they made it that person their guy. That guy got 1,200 votes. 1,200 votes all came to Navjeet because she was his partner. She only won by 1,000 votes. So when you do the math, it wasn't the Desis or Upper Punjabis that voted her in. And you do the breakdown, you're like, oh, wait, if we didn't come out to vote, who actually got her in? And you break it down, you're like, wow.
No, but you
Right,
got
so
it. That's the game,
well
right?
played, well played from Navjeet because that's reality what happened. But now when I'm on Instagram and I'm on all the Punjabis are posting, Punjab, you guys need to cool off. You had no contribution to this girl's hard work and her winning, right? Because you didn't even come out and vote. If anything, she should have been a blowout. If you look at the numbers in 2 and 6, Navjeet should have won by a huge margin. But it is what it is. So.
All right, so let's get into the uncle politics thing
I'm
you were
not being
mentioning.
negative. I'm just trying to be like, I don't think our people, either one, they're not smart. That's what I've come down to when it comes to like politics. They all want to take pictures.
Didn't make you think that?
Yeah, exactly. But that's a whole other conversation. Or they don't care and they like to complain. But can we sit here and think, do we have the pull that we think we do in
don't.
Brampton?
We don't.
Do we really
we
think
don't
we have
vote.
this pull?
We don't vote.
And so, should that be the change?
Screamed and begged. to get this
Yeah.
vote out. And it still wasn't enough. And there's the vote. The vote is there. There's nobody wants to. We are not mobilized to vote. Not like other communities. I'll be honest. Not like
Yeah, and
Kill
I think
Village, for
the
example.
Diwali was just an excuse. It just gave an out to people who didn't want to do it anyways.
100%.
But do we complain the most in our city?
100%. We complain about how we don't have a say. We don't get our fair share with the silent majority. Well, there's a reason why.
I do want to give a shout out to one of the groups, is the seniors clubs. Those guys are into it.
Those are legit.
Yo, those
Yeah.
legit.
The
Those
senior
guys are
clubs,
100%. So all the seniors clubs
those are my
actively
guys.
engaged. They actually know all the politicians. So hopefully they do go out and vote. But at least they know. So they actually acted like they cared, and that's always nice when you talk to them.
Yeah.
You know,
And you do.
regardless of their position. But
I'm visiting parks like all the time now.
yeah, man, it's not the loss, even just the turnout. I didn't care who won. The turnout in our community, that's sad, man. I sat there, I'm like, man, we don't deserve anything.
Oh,
Like
it's
we don't
embarrassing.
deserve this.
It's embarrassing.
How is it that Edmonton's had a Punjabi mayor, Calgary's had a mayor now of I guess Punjabi descent, and Nishi was of is he Pakistani or is he? He's a Somali, whatever he was. The Calgary, Brampton, man. What's going on? What is it? Visible minority. It doesn't have to be Aparna. I'm not saying it has to be Punjabi. Just what's going on? Is there nobody? Do we not? What's going on with Brampton? And the way they clamor around the mayor. Oh my God, it's great to see that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a Brown, the most corrupt politician in the last how many years that we've seen in the news, right? So.
You know, someone asked me that, like, why is it that you guys voted in Brown? He's so corrupt or whatever. I'm like, look, I don't know about the corruptness. I'm not going to comment on that. But what he offers is equal opportunity. In the past, we've had
fair enough. Yeah.
In the past, we've had mayors who may have been corrupt. I'm not going to get into specifics. I don't know for sure, but they were corrupt. They were very one-sided with who they favored. Whereas with Brown, up and have it in. And he's more than willing to share his stage and power with them.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean?
I can agree with that.
And it's one of those things.
The candidate that we put up, forget it. No, Patrick's. You know, he has pull. He is name recognition. People actually do love the guy. So, you know, give credit where it's deserved. The guy came and smashed it. He had a great election, won by a reasonable margin. What's with our community not being able to get better nominees and better representation, or, you know, let's talk about Juscudden.
See, here's the thing. Juscudden, we know him to be a great guy, great candidate, super smart, super active, does a lot for our community.
Yeah.
But we're connected. We're paying attention to what's going on the internet. You go to someone on the street, ask them, do you know what this happened or about this case? No. Where are they going to find out? They're not engaged or involved, right?
Let's not gloss over. Juscudden is the biggest surprise to me.
Yeah, I do. I looked at the numbers. I ain't gonna look at that one. You know, and party, you know, as well. I just, my heart goes out to them. I was not expecting that.
Expecting it.
They got let down big by the Diwali letdown. He's just like they were looking at the numbers where they expected to pull the polls that were supposed to turn up, and the ones that they really hammered and had people knocking and pulling and trying to convince to go out. And getting the most hanji asi ja rahe hun koi na kam to aa rahe those votes never seemingly transferred because those polls had really low numbers.
But do you think that's a problem in actually the polls or people?
People
no, that's definitely
that I've known for so long. Go vote. Yeah, we're going. 30 minutes later, patakke. And I was like, fuck.
They didn't go.
They didn't go vote. This is 6:30, and that's when I was like, all right, I'm calling it quits. I'm gonna go sit down.
Yeah.
That's when I from 9 a.m. to 6:30.
I hope I mean, on a side note, I think we all collectively agree we do not hope Juscudden quits or stops pursuing public office. Man, he's a great candidate. Advocate for our community, advocate for the city. Forget our community, just for the city and people. So for me, a shock. And I think, I don't know who was it. Rod Power. What was the guy's name? Sounds like a pure porn star name.
What a name, right?
It's like, yo, who is this guy?
That's like a 1970s porn name right there. Starring Rod Power.
So yeah, man, whoever that guy is. But I guess the Williams, they split a bunch of votes in that riding as well.
Well, it's not even about splitting. Like you talk about splitting, those votes may not have been going to them anyways, right? Like when
No,
you
I
say
know,
vote
but
split, you got to look at which Punjabi candidates took your votes, because that's where your actual split would
Yeah,
be
but the
going.
problem
But to
with having,
say
like,
other candidates took your
it's
votes,
like not saying that they took your votes, but having like 12, like ours was 12 candidates,
yeah, no, fair
right?
enough. But like,
I
are they
mean,
splitting your vote or are they splitting everyone's vote? If they're splitting everyone's vote, then that's fair.
no, I like
Well, no, what do you like?
There he goes. There he goes. Nobody
Browns
cares about.
got me. The no, the I like the federal or even the provincial style of kind of the big parties, right? So you 3 4 candidates and you get on. I mean, there's always these fringe parties, but you know
No
they're
one really
never
puts their.
they're never really put at the forefront. So you never see
That
like
other
big
Sundu only
candidates.
took 315 votes from.
He
Did I
had
say
an
it again?
intimidating ballot because I went to vote for him. I got to vote for him. It felt nice voting for people you know. And when I'm like, holy shit, I got to triple check that I put this circle beside the right name because there's just so
Yeah,
many lines.
so if it was like 4 or 5 people, let's say 4 people, that's what they limited to. I don't know how they would limit it. I mean, that's why the parties have nominations. And then, the voter might have a little bit of time to actually research and not have like 13 people knocking their door trying to get their vote. I mean, that can't be,
Conducive to
that's
pulling.
a problem as well, right? And it's not even, it's
They're not all knocking.
no, maybe not knocking, but remember, they're seeing document literature, not from school trustee, but they're seeing it from regional, councillor, mayor. It's a lot to take in for your general voter. So maybe that process needs to change. But
I
I mean,
mean,
12 school trustees was a lot. I was looking at them like, okay.
that's when you're like,
Especially-
man, should I take in wishing that let taking his and he could have switched.
Yeah.
I give you guys first dibs on all wards. I picked my ward last. I was like, well, I guess I'm
we
on this
live
one.
in the ward and we have to,
I lived in my own ward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know where my ward is technically.
Well, you're too scared to run against party. That was your problem.
Well, I wasn't planning on it. I'm not going to try and. Last thing I want to do is try and sabotage a campaign of someone who actually wants to.
That's true.
Right?
I mean,
Now-
hence why we actually did this, because there was no one in those elections.
Could you imagine how bad I
representing
feel
our
if I took
community.
300 votes from Pradeep?
Imagine you took 300 votes. Imagine you took 300 votes from us, and that's the reason we lost.
Ooh, this would be a dicey podcast.
I'd be like, well, clearly I'm well loved and respected.
Exactly.
No, it's interesting, man. Like, I don't know if I definitely hear that you're kind of annoyed with our population for not coming out, but
But I mean, it might be coming off as a personal thing. It's not a personal thing. I'm generally be honest. We're just unhappy that the guy who won. If it was one of the other 6 people, I would have been more than happy. I'm like, you know what? They're more than qualified. The guy who was least qualified got the job. So it is what it is. That's politics, and you can't do nothing about that. But
imagine if I won in that case.
Sorry.
I said, imagine if I won, how angry you'd be.
You're educated. You're a programmer. You can figure it out, right? But yeah, I mean,
All right. One thing you said, you talked about uncles having too much power, very
yeah.
little pull. Tell me more about what's going on there. What's that about?
No, I don't mean. I don't mean. So I mean, there's always uncles don't like it. They don't like this whole term uncle politics. The tent meetings.
They don't know about that term. They only know about.
They 100% know about that term. They know
That's
about that term 100%.
That's because you're going around calling it that
Well,
term.
tell them straight up, like, this is what we think of you. No, I don't mean uncle. How do I put this? These meet and greets, where like it's just real estate agents getting together to kind of show off their houses or to like invite Patrick Brown so they can have like a seat at the table. That doesn't produce votes. Those guys are not vote pullers. And there's so many of these events. And some people do have. It's family. I agree. Like Ranjit, you said, it was your family friend school. Different. But there was a lot of them in our wards, and it was nice. But then when you look at the voter turnout, you're like, do you really have the pull that you're posing like you do? And I'm starting to realize no one has pull, right? And it comes from when you can't give me a list of 10 people, and that's where it starts. And if you can't give me a solid list of 10 people, that's all I ask for. Then you start to realize, oh, they're here for the hugs and pictures.
See,
right?
this is where I think I disagree with you, because that's always been part of the game. But the second part of that game is uncle management.
No,
And that's
should-
uncle management's a big thing,
I
man.
don't. I
I've
think
been-
that's a pass. You give it a pass because
No,
it's
no.
like, look, if they want to be political, I'm okay with that. I think that's
No,
great.
no.
You should be
Don't
part of
come
the
in-
process, but then be part of the process.
No, I agree
Don't
with
say
that.
"One edda kita" and you can't do that, and they start to play their own politics.
No, I
And
agree.
it's usually the
I'm not-
perennial losers who have lost past elections who become
Kingmakers.
the
Kingmakers.
kingmakers,
Yes.
the pundits. They need to stop. Yo, if you're saying no, Javan, then you need to step back. Let us take it. We can understand how to run an election, but it's when you
no.
interfere and you're
See-
not really being part of
See,
the process.
This is
step
where I
back.
think this is where I'm going to disagree with you, because that's part of the game is how do you keep them engaged enough to feel like they're getting that, that you're very valuable
But
to the
no,
thing.
once again, Shinda, it's
Wait,
one
Shinda,
vote.
you're-
No,
you're-
no.
One
you're
vote.
just
They're not
fundamentally
20
wrong.
votes.
Exactly.
No. Old my son. I get what you're saying, right? They're one vote. But this is something I experienced in Raj's campaign and in Sonia's nomination, is those one votes do have a bit more votes behind them if you manage them. If you figure out which one of these guys is legit, which one of
Yes.
these guys deserves my
Yes.
time, which guys
Fine.
doesn't.
Fine, fair
Who's-
enough.
But it's in Robbie's defense. Okay, he's right. Fuck, I can't believe saying this. He's right that a lot of these events are like
They're a waste of
realtors
time or whatever.
flexing. Okay,
Mm.
but every now and then you legit have an event during the week or a few events during the week where it's not realtors and brokers. It's a realtor who's invited their neighbors.
Yes.
I'm okay
and-
with
and
that.
their
That's good.
And
That's
you
fine,
don't
yeah.
know, and you don't know it until you get there.
Yeah.
Okay? But you get to this event, and then you're like, "Oh, okay, sick." Like this guy invited like 10 families on his street, and a few of his other family, and then some realtors and brokers, right? Whatever. That's great because
Those are people that
votes
can
for
actually
me.
translate to votes,
That's-
yeah.
can vote for
And
me, and they
that's
have like
okay,
4 or
yeah.
5 people in their family. Like that's great. Okay, and then I'm gonna hound this guy to make sure he gets his votes. So in Robbie's defense, those are few and far between. Those type of events and those type of meet and greets. Okay, I probably in the 30 days of my election, actually maybe like 25, because I did go on vacation.
No, but like this is to my point, right?
But I probably had like 5 of those events out of like the 20 I went to.
No, it's fair enough. But I think that's where, suffice to say, our inexperience, I'll include myself in this, comes and goes, right? Like, but say this is your second campaign now. Now you know which uncles are about it and which uncles are kind of flop.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
because they still
know what I
still
mean?
froth up like cream of the crop, like they think they are. The problem, I think what we need to start realizing is our community doesn't have the pull that we assume. Well, this guy knows so. I don't think it's true.
Well,
I think
the rule is whatever number they say, you divide it by 1/3.
fair enough, but forget even that. They might
I
know
see.
people.
I guess
but
the
when
one
they're
reason-
involved in actually doing work, the actual work, and I'm not saying from ours. I watched it in all everyone's elections.
No.
They're not there, right? And I think that's what's infuriating. Like one, you're there, you're taking up time. Remember, it's time, right? Time's limited. You want to kind of get to every possible vote you can, send your message, and move on. If they have the vote, great. And now I hope you spread the word. But it's the time, like you're saying, management. Yeah, you need a whole team, brother.
No,
You
I
need
get
a
that.
whole team,
but
right?
So here's an observation that I remember from Ruby Sahota's team originally versus Raj's team originally. And I worked really close with Jaskarn on these, so I really got to watch him. And I think this is where Jaskarn shines as a not a political analyst, but as a campaign manager. And this is
Campaign
something he learned from Nav, and he learned from like Nav Mangat and wherever else was. One
And they're just
isn't
naming everybody.
no. I'm naming his hierarchy, right? Like if we're gonna go who learned from who.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the thing that he did that Ruby Sohota's campaign manager at that time in the first election came by to talk about is I have a lot of uncles who come over and waste a lot of time, who say a lot, but it doesn't look like they're producing. How are you countering this? How are you handling it? What is your strategy for this, right? And he's like, look, 100% we know which uncles. He's like, out of all the uncles that come and just, do coffee, we recognize the 10 that actually pull 10 votes and have that say in who are actively so he's like, we engage the 10 who can do the 10 votes. He's like, the other ones we just do enough to make them like, yo, here's some lit, can you go and like get them out of the office as fast as you can so that they're not just hogging and taking up. And I realize your campaigns are different. There's no offices that people are just coming and lingering at, right?
Yeah, I mean,
but
I would
a
even-
big part of it, and from what I saw in that campaign, I saw it in Brampton's campaign, and I saw it in the Sonia campaign. It's recognizing who can work for you and who's going to be valuable to you, and making sure you know that this is the person who has potentially 10 votes to them. Like, so here's a guy who gave me a list. Let me work with him and not spend too much time chasing someone else, right?
So I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think maybe I kind of misconstrued. I'm talking about the kingmakers. That's what I'm getting at. The guys who we in our community dub as to be these political,
let's be real, like,
savants that are going to solve all your problems. They don't know nothing. Okay, because honestly, they haven't won elections. There's been a few, and those are the guys you trust, right? Because they know, right? But most of them have not won. I've had one guy who's run an election come up to me and say, "Frey, I've given you all the tools. How come you can't win?" I'm like, I looked straight at him like, how are you going to say that to me when you lost your own election? You've been in this position before. And he goes, I've given you everything. Now you got to do the work. It's like, you haven't given me anything. That's why I'm asking you a question. So there's a lot of that, right? It's when you kind of put their feet to the fire, there's not much substance there. That's all I'm saying. I mean,
and I agree with that.
I'm not talking about family. No. Dude, like, I remember Rogers campaign. That was like, that's different. Family. No. You have a different structure there.
But I also agree with you. That's our cult. That's up and in. They big themselves up, right?
The dudes on the political channels on TV, those guys.
They don't know shit, right? No, I agree with that. But I think part of it is recognizing who they are and just entertaining their ego, stroking it enough. Just giving it a little.
Why are they even there? Just tell them to go, because it's like, it's such a waste of time. You're not helping the community. Right?
Something that I tried, unknowingly similar to what Shinda proposed, is every uncle thought he was a kingmaker. I'd be like, all right, give me one day this week, and we're gonna drive to every house that you can pull votes.
Smart.
And some did that. Some legit did that with me.
Yeah.
And that was great because, on one hand, like, the family gets a ego boost that the candidate came to my house and he told me, and you take their phone numbers down and addresses down, right? Great. Then boom, you also, for the next time, you whittle down which uncle's effective.
That's experience.
But that's good. But they're actually doing work. I don't.
And the uncle that ducks your calls and doesn't give you the numbers and doesn't give you a list.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, those ones, and there's many of them.
100%. There's more of them than the useful ones. I agree to that.
You just gotta stroke them off enough to say, yes, I need you, but don't actually need you.
But I just hope those guys would get out of the way, because we would actually produce some results.
So look, I know uncles like that because I'm friends with uncles like that, right?
We're about to become the uncles. I'm just letting you know.
No.
We're approaching that uncle age. I would never do that.
I tell candidates straight up, when a candidate approaches me, like, Shinder, you need to pull vote. I'm like, look, you're coming to me for the wrong thing. My neighbors really don't like me. I'm not going to be able to sit you down and make you form votes on my street. My wife sometimes questions who I'm voting for. Don't use me for that. And I tell them, like, when it comes to your election, this is what I'm useful for. You can use me. I can help you in these And I always tell them, give me your data. I'll give you some of the best data back. I can muddle your Excel files like no one else, right? But I'm like, don't come to me to pull a vote for you, because I'm not good at that. I hate knocking doors. I stutter when I speak. Find better people for that kind of stuff.
But you do a podcast every week. This is...
Yeah.
He's lying people. He just doesn't want to help you.
Right? Yeah. No, but there's strengths, right? And I say this because I have friends who who tell me and offer some of the best political advice left and right. And they told me, they're like, one, Gopi will never be dethroned. They said that they're like, Guru made a mistake. They told me Guru made a big mistake going to 9-10. If he wanted an easy victory, he should have gone to 7 and 8. And that I know nothing about politics. And I call him Mr. 30%, because they'll always pull 30%, right? And I say that because they're 30% because they pulled 1 out of 3 people that they said they were going to pull. So I call him Mr. 30%. But I know who they are, and I appreciate their insights, because sometimes they do offer a gem here and there. But these people, and okay, that's who you are. I'm going to focus on this other guy who seemingly has a bunch of neighbors that like him.
So maybe uncle is a crude term, because it's just not in our community. I mean, I think Nikki's campaign manager is a clown too, or whatever he was. That Nick, Reading his tweets this week, man, I'm like, if I was in her campaign, I would have turned to this guy like, this guy got paid to do this.
Wait,
Oh, we're up neck and neck, and we're doing this. And I'm like,
What's he
and he's
supposed to
angry, and
say? What's he
I know, but
supposed to
he's
say? We're
angry.
getting our
He's like,
asses
I'm gonna
kicked.
kill this guy, and I'm gonna get this guy arrested. I'm like, yo, this guy's he's an uncle. He's a Greek uncle. That's what he is.
I do want to say one thing. While,
It was
while we
beautiful.
touched on Nikki now,
He's BC Banda. He's your Banda, you know?
I'm gonna do a little truth bomb. It was very difficult for me during this campaign to just campaign as a person who is independent of council because I'm not on council,
I was wondering who's gonna bring this up.
and it's really fucking sad that
Yeah.
Patrick Brown and his goon squad never once pressured me to say, you know, if you're with Nikki, we're gonna fucking. If you go to any event with Nikki, we're gonna fucking try to destroy you.
You're saying it's disappointing that Patrick didn't do that?
No, Patrick's camp did not do that. Okay, for all the corruption and goonery reputation that people sling at him.
Like
What
the
if they're
Goon
not
Squad,
corrupt? What if they're not corrupt? What if they're just nice
Well,
guys?
I think
No.
we're using that term very loosely.
Yeah,
yeah.
very loosely, very loosely. But the amount of shade I got from certain uncles, the second that they're like, do you pledge your allegiance to Nikki?" I'm like, "What the fuck do I need to pledge my allegiance to? Like, I'm just a fucking trustee."
It's a trustee position. It's not even a political.
Like, no, you have to be anti-Brown, and totally devoted towards Nikki. And I'm like, no, like I can't do that, and that drew a lot of ire. And it really be your own. It really be your own who fucking pull you down.
Same thing happened to us. Same thing. We got the same approach, and we basically were campaigned against by their campaign.
That sucks.
I don't think I was campaigned against, but
actively
like,
campaigned
in my face.
by their
I've got
captains.
in my face. Like,
I was asking
what
my
the fuck are you
pops.
doing?
Because my pops, for a big part of his life, has been involved in politics. He's usually the guy who pulls at least 10, 15 votes when he says he's going to pull 10, 15 votes. And so people tend to come to him when an election comes around. They're like, Inublau, he's one of the guys who can pull results.
He has the votes, yeah.
We got to talk. And so, and I was asking him, like, so what's going on this election? Unfortunately, his health wasn't the greatest, so he couldn't. He was really adamant that he wanted to help Giscard, and he's like, I told the few guys I know there, but it's just a riding that I have no one left in, so I can't really do much for him, but I'm down to go knock doors. Wasn't able to, just health wasn't there. But he was also approached by first he was approached by Brown's guys, like, hey, you want to come help us? He's like, nope, I don't really trust your guy, ain't helping him. And he's approached by Nikki's guys. Hey, Nikki's from this pind, it's right beside your pind, you need to come out. He's like, nope, fuck you, I think her father's corrupt, I ain't helping you. Right?
We took it way back.
He pulled it up. Like, what do you mean? He's like, yo, this is what he did for business, this is how much money he made. It doesn't add up. I don't trust him. He's just like, I don't trust him. He's like, I ain't gonna put my name on the line for him either. Then he's like, then they're like, well,
Bob?
I'm like, what about Bob? He's like, I don't even know Bob. Fuck that. I'm not wasting my time with that. And then it's kind of like, well, he's like, look, everyone I know in my immediate circle of friends who goes, like, I spend time with here, they're all going Gopi. And they asked me if I was going to come support them. I said, look, don't ask me again. I don't want to offend you, but I'm just not going to be involved. And then when it came to Guru Pratap, they never really approached him. But he said, look, I can't really support him openly because I don't want to offend some certain people who I've counted on in the past. But I'll see what I can. I'll make sure that I go out and help get that vote out for you. So I was kind of like, look, I like that value system, because he's just like, I told him he's corrupt. I told him he's corrupt. I was like, that must make life really hard at your age, keeping friends, because you, like, at every single election, at some point, you're gonna be like, no, I can't work with you no more. And people are like, well, that's the last thing they remember, right? I'm like, so is this why you have no friends? He's like, I got the 3 I need.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's all you need, man.
I thought that was hilarious though, because he was just calling out everyone corrupt.
I mean, just the notion that he didn't help you either. So
He laughed at me. He laughed at me. He's like, how's your campaign going? But I'm like, yeah. He's like, you doing anything? I'm like, nope. My mom was actually more pissed than he was. He appreciated the humor in the joke. He appreciated
dad-
your mom
My
didn't
dad
think it was
called
funny.
me so many calls. He's like, "Yeah, Ranjit te Shan da munda khade hai."
My dad appreciated the joke. He's like, wow, Randy's really putting in effort. Why aren't you? I'm like, He's like, all right. I think his whole thing was, maybe this will be the one that kicks this ass kicking only motivates you to try next time. My mom was like, you put your name on the paper. You got to make sure you try. I don't care. She's like, this is an F in my books. I'm like, but Ma, I wasn't even in the course. She's like, you signed up for the course and you didn't even try? She's like, that's back to your whole education system right there. She's like, what son did I raise that doesn't put an effort in? I was like, but Mom, I probably wasn't going to win.
You got no promotion, man. Not even your brother, not your parents. Nobody helped you out, eh?
Mera ta pyo bhi nahi aaya vote karne. Yeah, no, I didn't get the. It's all good, man. I don't even mind that. I'm just thinking.
But aside from that, you still got 300 votes. Let's not downplay that. You did well. You did well.
It's an interesting thing, but I don't know if you guys saw it today. Nikki went back to work today. The elections are over, and she was met with a "you're fired." The fuck.
Yeah, she should have been fired. Why would she go back to work? Is she insane? She should have resigned.
I didn't even know she worked for the city. I thought she had a law firm.
My man, she's been collecting $175,000 paycheck for being a planner, which she has no experience. Didn't you watch Bob's videos?
I
How
did,
dare
but
you?
I thought she got
all my political information. This whole thing has been a Bob's videos. Very informative, by the way. He should keep giving. Honestly, I'm down for a Bob News channel. I'm going to put it out there. A weekly. We need to get Bob on the show.
We need to get Bob on the podcast.
Yeah, we get Bob on the podcast.
All right, are you guys down? I'm gonna make. I'll make the request.
100%. I would
I'll
generally
use any channel I can too. I will use it.
Bob follows me on Twitter.
not to
me
make
and Bob
honestly, and it's not like I generally want to talk to him because I think
I want to know
very
what
good
his
points.
strategy was, what he did exactly. I want to know it all behind the video.
Who's the man behind the TikToks?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
All right,
Why not?
I'll put the feelers out there.
Yeah, but clearly you don't watch his videos
I
because
did.
he clearly went through that Nikki applied for a job that she didn't need or she wasn't deserving of.
I get that.
I dress like a lawyer, but
I get that. I thought because from that lawyer video, he was standing outside Nikki's law firm. So I thought, she's
no. So she was hired by Patrick. This is where the corruption comes, right? She's obviously a PC. I guess she must be someone in the PC
She
party.
was a PC candidate from Stony Creek.
No, but before that, I guess she's been in the party, and all of a sudden what did she run for before Stony Creek? Locally, it was something here. She lost once here as well.
Is she from Hamilton? I know she grew up here, but is she from Hamilton?
Whatever the case is, whatever. She lost a few elections. Then she gets hired as a city planner. I don't even know what the title is, which she has no experience doing. It's a $175,000 job from the city of Brampton. She gets that. I guess things go astray with her and Patrick Brown or whatever the supposed allegations she's made. City spends another $1 million investigating those allegations. And she has the audacity to go back to work.
just shows up with colleagues saying, "Hey, how's your month been?"
Like, hey, how was your weekend?
I thought that was brilliant.
Boy, have I got a story for you. Like, what the...
Did Mully on the weekend called it? How many votes?
Sorry, before I interrupt, if that's not an indication of how bad her decision making was, thank God. Like, I don't know. Sorry, what were you saying about Mully?
Polls for Brown are pretty accurate. Like all these polls that he was putting out in his internal numbers, her internal numbers. Let's just go to that.
That's that Nick guy, though, right? It's his
Nick
company.
Corvallis.
Yeah, exactly. So
His partner's
what's the
company.
PC? So what's the PC party going to say about that? Because this guy just fleeced her campaign, lied basically. It was always internal numbers.
I mean, part of it's the game, though, right?
And Patrick's were like 60 or 66, 65, and he ended up with 60% of the vote.
I mean, so yeah, I think part of the game is which polls do you trust? Like, I knew Nick's poll numbers weren't legit the second they were coming out, but he's not going to come out and say, my candidate's losing. This sucks.
No, but maybe not report lies. Is that, I mean...
Lies in this game. It's
it wasn't even close. And if he had put some urgency on it, maybe if he had put some urgency on his people, hey, we're losing. And not got into the head that they're going to win this, they would have actually pulled the vote.
See, you guys are really anti-Nick right now. I'm kind of a fan of Nick. Nick's pretty cool. I realize, like,
isn't he like he's thing? Isn't he xenophobic? That's the first thing they rate in the news.
Oh,
he's a xenophobic guy.
Yeah.
So
his
how would you
retweets
like
and
this
stuff.
guy?
I'm not saying I appreciate what he was doing.
You just
I
said he was
appreciate his
cool.
game. Yeah, I saw it because he was fighting with people and left and right on Twitter. It was the pettiness that he was going into, and I was like, "Yo, man, this guy is kind of jokes."
No, don't give him a pass.
Fine. Like I'm not giving him a pass.
He's Dougie's boys, isn't he?
You like
he was.
shitposting.
I like people who shitpost and who meme the shit out of their opponents.
Fine. Say you like that about him, but you
I
don't
appreciate
like,
it. Fine. I liked his approach to shitposting Patrick daily, harassing Patrick's key supporters. Just like, I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, man, I've never seen that guy do this.
But,
Yeah, he's
you
an
know,
unpolished campaign manager.
he never talked about his candidate.
There wasn't really much to say, was there?
Like, fair enough, but isn't that your job? He fleeced that campaign. He didn't say one positive thing about it.
I want to know how much he got paid.
Yeah, man, that's the number I want to know.
From my understanding, he wasn't in it for the money. Him and Patrick have beef going back
That's
from
bullshit.
the premier days. No, this is
that's a lie.
legit. This is legit. There has been beef from the Patrick days, and it was there was a bit of stuff going on that encouraged him to
What, to come to town and lose? Come
not
on.
even lose, to annoy.
He
Like even with
definitely-
the like from even like he got paid. I'm not saying he did it out of
got
the
paid.
earnest of his heart, right? He definitely got money. But the exterior motivator for this wasn't just a paycheck, is what I'm trying to get at. There is past blood between him and Brown that Brown kind of alluded to in his victory speech, where Brown was like, I came into the PC party and I fired Nick and his company and got rid of him, and that's where things. But there's definitely been
Maybe that's why Brown keeps winning.
There's definitely old blood. I'm saying this isn't just a simple. There is bad blood between these guys, which encouraged him to come to Brampton of all places to participate.
Yeah, the PC party's wild, eh?
The PC party's so much fun. You guys need to come over to the dark side.
As long
Like,
as he acknowledges the dark side.
I don't know, Randy. I think Randy has it. Randy made
I'll
it.
say this: as soon as Ranji,
He's gone. He's gone.
you can't even talk about the Emperor here. Talk about an Emperor in your shirt. It's so fitting. But look, I saw Randy's numbers, and the first thing came to my mind when I saw Randy's numbers, I said, if he pulled that for trustee, he can run a nomination and win. He's got nomination numbers ready, and he's got
100%.
a nomination list that he can pull from. And all I know is Pierre is going to be looking for candidates.
He was in
And,
cherry
he was
tree
in-
that night. So I'm saying.
But if Pierre pulls up somewhere a podcast, he's going to realize that Randy's
Yeah.
not his man.
Yeah,
He
I
might
was
be.
Definitely.
I believe there was one podcast where Randy said he wanted to beat him up. So
Wow, now you're just really hurting his chances here.
No. I did say he has that fuck you thing about
He has
him.
that-
but when
he has the
speaks,
face.
where you're
He
like,
has the-
yeah.
he has that
yeah.
face that you.
We have to scrub all podcasts.
He strikes me as someone who would appreciate your raw honesty and would appreciate a guy like that on his team. I'm just putting it out there.
I'm
But
just an everyday
This
man.
guy's,
I'm just
this
an
guy's
everyday
recruiting
man.
now too. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. No. I got honestly like Muggsy.
go ahead, Mr. 30%.
Muggsy or Guggen, one of them, good friends of mine. They were teasing me when I first told my friends that I'm running, and they said, and this stuck with me. And was that Michael Jordan meme? And that upset me. Where they said,
And that's what I
"You're
took
gonna
it
get
personal.
smoked."
That's
Yeah,
what I took it
that
personally.
took personally. You're gonna get smoked. This is not like you can't just call people from Moga and try to win.
Yo,
know,
Moga stood up,
As,
yo.
soon,
And then I
as
was like-
soon as they said
I was like,
Mogad, that's
hold
when
on.
you're like,
I was like, hold on, that's not true necessarily because it is a community that's like entrenched in the GTA that came here in numbers in the 90s. But I want to lean on my
Got a
family.
bunch of pizza shops too, and
Lean
meat
on my
shops.
family. Okay. Yeah, exactly. And meat shops. Lean on the Kabaddi network, who leaned on the mortgage broker real estate network, and it was just honestly, it's just lining up the dots. Who's gonna take me to houses and meet voters?
It's a
in
great
my-
strategy.
And honestly, I leaned on Moga so much.
He's just pumping it up now.
Dude, I did. I swear to God. I would go to somebody's house and be like, "Tera parent keda?" And I'd be like, Lopo. And there'd be some sort of connection. It's like, oh, asla dhyane to. And that like just they're just happy. You know where you're from.
Do you think you pulled the vote? Like, of Desis? Do you think the Desis came out that
I
you
got-
like engaged with? Do you think they actually went and voted for you?
I will say I got a good check on my numbers. I got.
Nice.
see,
Good.
this is what I think people are not going to recognize about Ranji right now. Ranji has kingmaker status, like legit kingmaker status. He's that uncle who.
He's Uncle Politics, 100%.
No,
He's gonna be the uncle.
Ranji said uncle you can lean on if you're running in that riding. Be like, yo, Ranji, can you help me out? Randy could be like, I think I can. I have Moga. I can pull a few for those. Doesn't mean you're going to go through the entire network and pull every single one of them.
It's fucking hard. Yeah, it's hard.
Right?
At
But-
most, you can say these are the people you gotta talk to.
Let me ask you
And
something.
these are the connections you gotta make.
Let me ask if hey, Shinda's running in your riding now. Hey, Ranji, can you take me around and get me 100 votes to 100 houses?
Yes, but you will not speak.
No, no,
I
no.
will do all the talking.
You're right.
just smile
But
and
you
nod.
can do that, right? You can get me 100 forms. You can get me 100 members.
Now I could, yeah.
Yo, you're kingmaker, man.
Kingmaker. Telling you right now, you're one of the most valuable people in
You're
that
gonna be
riding
like-
for
he's
anyone.
gonna be
But
like,
in my defense,
मैं
it's
election
seniors.
लड़िया सी,
It's
and I was a
seniors.
school trustee.
He doesn't need to say, man. He's someone. If you can hand to chest, hand to God, make someone 100 members out of your network,
It was relying on
more-
my family, relying on seniors, yeah.
you're more powerful than a lot of people, right?
Is it
Yeah,
only
but
take
that-
100?
But that
Really?
One person. I'm saying if you can find a person who can do 100 members for you, that's a lot for that one person.
No wonder they all talk to my father-in-law. I'm
Right?
Like, this guy knows like 200-300 people.
Now, yeah. So it's you now you get 5 of those guys, 10 of those guys. Now you get 1,000, right? It adds up. It's a numbers game, but it's about finding who is liked by people, right? Like I said, I tell people straight up, I'm not that guy you take to get you 100 members, because I will not be able to do that for you. I'll make you 10, and then the other 90 I talk to will hate me and probably not vote for you out of spite that I'm with you. But it's a big trait. It's a serviceable skill is what I'm kind of get at. And it's a skill that you could use and leverage to become
Yeah.
a candidate for a party. You have the base now to run for a party, and I think all parties would greenlight you for it. Is
I think the one thing that I've realized that I can never run in politics.
yeah.
Those experiences.
Hearing how this guy was handling uncles right now, just off the bat, Robbie was getting.
No, it's not that. It's just I can't. You know, when you come from a workplace where you're not used to bullshit, you know, you're like, you're not. Your job is black and white. It's the problem. You fix it. You move on. Let's go. It's very hard to be inundated with that amount of BS in a short span of time, and to feel positive about the political process or positive of the way we conduct ourselves as our community in this process. I think that's where I get irritated, because I think we're way more capable, and this can't be it. If this is the system we've been using for the last 20 something years, we're not very effective, because at the same time we can't even pull our vote. And that's where I get irritated. I'm like, I can't do this because I'm too honest. But
There's one
Ranjit,
other
who's a lawyer, and they tend to lie a lot, can smile at people, and he
this
doesn't
is
have
the
any
one,
issue.
and this is the one thing I heard though.
You just want to be listened to, okay? That's it.
This is the thing I heard about Ranji is when he was at these barbecues and get-togethers, is he's the one who made all the uncles and all the other fellas there laugh. He would have
Yeah,
that
but
one liner,
he's a personable guy,
right?
I have my moments.
But he doesn't give credit where credit's due. He still hasn't given the credit to the guy who wrote his whole multimedia package. No credit whatsoever.
His platform.
Not in a tweet. Not in even his whole his whole election.
Someone came up to me one day. They're like, "Yo, is that your name on the ballot?" I said, "Yeah." They're like, "What? You've done nothing." I'm like, "They're like, what's your platform?" I'm like, "Go to nirpalsekon.ca," whatever she said. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Ranjit's literature looks very suspect.
You know, Nirpal and I collaborated for many months before this campaign, and there's lots of synergy there. We have, we think about the same things when it comes to our children, and what needs to be done in school. So that's all it was, guys.
I thought you would say the same question you guys asked. Oh, let's just Rob to do it. That was the question. That's the consistent question. Can you do this?
I lost because you didn't make me my Go Vote Today poster.
I wasn't even in Brampton. I was in London, Ontario.
I want to move on to something that happened yesterday. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but Diwali, and we heard what it did to the vote. Kept keeping it at home, but it kept a lot of people in the park till late. I had fireworks going off till 2 a.m. in our area.
3 a.m. for us, yeah.
And then there was definitely smoke everywhere. It was very smoky this morning.
I was on Signs Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday was Sunday. But every night in the Ray Lawson area, all the plazas were packed with people doing patake. Saturday night, Bob actually showed up at 1. And I was there. Me and my science team were there. Science team is me and one other guy.
You mean you and your signed partner? So let's
Yeah,
just get
science
the.
partner. And we got blocked in by cops on both sides. I was like, oh my God, get me the fuck out of here. I can't be in the news for this. But Bob was there. So it was all good. Bob was dancing with the students. Crazy.
That's
Anyways,
yeah,
But you guys see what happened at
thick,
Westwood
thick
Mall?
smoke. Thick
the
smoke.
war zone.
The
Malton.
500 fight, the Hindus versus Sikhs.
Dude, it was not Hindus versus Sikhs, first of all.
I mean, it came across.
That's your
It looked,
spin on it.
it
Your
looked like
spin on
that.
it. No, because you think anybody who holds the Indian flag is Hindu.
Yeah.
No, that was not the case. It was all international students, okay? And it was just a bunch of brown kids. You have no idea what religion they were. It was not like they're holding, you know,
One side had India flags
like
saying
Mandar. What's the
Jai Sri
like
Ram,
orange
and the
flag
other
thing?
was like orange
They're
Khalistan
India
flags.
They're
Yeah, India flags, and they were doing pro Hindustan chants.
So they could be like families of fucking army guys, Sikh army guys, who are very patriotic too.
And then they had,
Every family
What does
has
this have to do with Diwali?
and then they
yeah,
had,
that's exactly it. What does it have to do with
Celebrate
Diwali?
your shit and
Why-
go home, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
my take on it, all this is, fuck, do we want to live here? Seriously? Like if Diwali was
Man.
not the capping of everything on the election, the way it went, the lack of poll, and then I'm like, these people are more concerned with patake than what's going to happen the next 4 years in their damn city.
Fucking ban fireworks, man.
Yeah.
see, everyone's down. I proposed this, and everyone thought I was crazy.
Wait.
Ban private sale of fireworks, and
there's a
private
point
operation.
there. The rule is the firework cannot get elevated higher than a feet. Is it 10 feet?
Yeah,
So that's the rule. Those mini cakes are actually illegal, so they've already been banned. The ban's not doing anything.
that's
Yeah,
why you
no
got to
one's
just.
Want to ban them? Then what?
They're selling it. How can you sell it?
You should get charged. Right? I mean, you can sell it another. That's something that they got to figure out. Patrick Brown, there's your first number one thing. Is he going to do it? Probably not, because he's going to lose his Indian vote.
But he's got to do it. It's not just him. He's got to do it with everyone
No,
else.
you know what? I don't think he will. People are fucking livid. The tax-paying citizen is very pissed.
Yeah, but they should. If they were so pissed, they should have came out and voted. Forget. Honestly, time to move.
One of my wife's
Brampton. It's like I've tried, my dear. I'm done.
my wife was sharing some comments made in her mom's groups. So when you become a mom, there's Facebook groups that are geared to Brampton moms.
Yeah, this
right?
is our dad group, right? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and so they have these, and it's just like a bunch of people, moms of like a certain generation, who are just trading stuff, giving advice, or offering up trades and stuff. And they were just like, man, these people hate up in it right now.
I felt like apologizing to all my good neighbors this morning.
Why should we apologize? We should be embarrassed. Like everybody should just be embarrassed.
I want to apologize. I'm sorry on behalf of my community that we kept you
Don't-
and your kids up. That's fucking sad.
I didn't feel that way. I was just like, man, y'all need to go to sleep.
Do we deserve better things? Like,
Did you see what Westwood Mall parking lot looked like today?
Yeah.
yo, those people went and cleaned it up. There was like volunteers cleaning up. I'm like, wow, man. Like, yeah, that's. And why, if it's private property, why didn't the cops come in and just take them all out? Like,
I
why are
mean,
they being so sensitive with these guys? No, it's
'cause
private property.
They also
You're
don't want to
lighting
be like,
fireworks. No, you're lighting a pyrotechnic close to a commercial building, which is on private property. Completely illegal. Arrest them.
listen, man.
Deport. If you get arrested today, you're getting deported. The parking lot would have cleared out like a bunch of Kirian. They would have all ran away. 100%. Solution's there, but no one wants to do it, right? No one wants to be hard on these guys. Why? You're lighting fireworks at 2 a.m.
You know why? You know why they don't want to be hard? Because they don't want to deal with the people coming at them in the This is some racist stuff going on. I remember when Environment Canada
got that. Environment Canada got smoke this week, and they were fucking right.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah. I was actually pretty pissed when I saw that tweet, and now I'm like, fuck, they're right. So bad.
They weren't even right. I think they underestimated what was going to happen. I don't think no one expected that this year.
I remember
There was
they,
a thick fog in the entire city. I was
Yeah.
driving around like,
It was a thick ass fog this morning, man. It was bad.
So what changed? What happened this year?
2 years of nothing. It was banned the last 2 years.
And when did I was actually
Who
driving
lifted
around
that
wondering,
law? Who lifted that law?
It was COVID rules, right? Under COVID, people.
COVID rules. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah,
Bring them
COVID.
back.
when did Diwali become a drinking holiday? Like Vaisakhi.
I don't know. Ask Lily Singh.
Ask Lily about that one.
Sorry, I was looking at her tweets in the White House. I'm like, I wonder if she has that Johnny Walker somewhere.
Randy's like, oh fuck, can't even touch that topic. Let's move on, guys.
Anyways,
Sorry, guys, I had to.
No, that's fair. But yeah, Diwali was always the religious holiday, and Vaisakhi was both cultural and religious. So,
Okay, did anyone even go to the Gurdwaras this year? I mean, because obviously we were election.
Randy was campaigning outside of him.
I was campaigning as an Onyxer.
Which you're not allowed to campaign on the day of the election.
No, he was reminding people to go vote.
Outside.
Oh, I see. Is
And
that
he
the
was-
same thing?
No, he was encouraging people to
That's
vote.
what I mean. That's what I
I gotta
mean.
ruin this guy's political future right here.
No. The mayor was there. A bunch of candidates were there.
A bunch of
All
councillors went too, I
encouraging
know.
people,
Yeah.
just encouraging people to.
Yo,
do
you
this
know what's
great
messed
idea
up
of
though?
vote.
We don't get invited to their side. You don't get to go to churches. You don't get to nothing.
Most churches I know don't.
Should we
allow
keep
any
politics out of the
candidate- don't allow
Gurdwara?
Any candidate.
So
Yes,
why the hell do
100%.
we bring them in ours?
Yes, I felt so awkward speaking at the Gurdwara.
Yeah.
It's so fucking off. And look, at the very least, I will pat myself on the back. I know basic decorum and etiquette in a Gurdwara. Enough to know that you start with Fateh and not hello. You don't have your supporters clapping as you speak.
This really happened. This is
I didn't know
This
about that,
happened.
but that's funny.
And you don't call Purnamashi the full moon party.
Yeah, well, he's the leader, so that's a different.
No, and not many people did it.
Yeah. Oh, did they? Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's especially bad when some brown candidates are like, hello, I want to make the city better. I was like, oh my God, don't hello?
No,
Even
but
the
why
voters
don't,
think
so
white
why,
people
why
are
do we
white.
let them in? Like, why have we given that space in our community? Say that's okay to do any political speech at a Gurdwara?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And I don't like the whole thing. Oh, we've always been political. That's horseshit. Like that's if we've always been political, how come we keep losing? We're not like just get them out. Keep it religious. Don't let them in. Now, if they want to do service and seva, more than welcome to come in.
Well, Martin Medeiros, good guy by the way. I'm gonna give a nice
He's
little
building his
shout out.
future. Look at him building these roots.
He's a fucking solid guy. He big brothered me a little bit. I like it. Anyways, he looked back at me. He's like, "Yo, a church, this would never happen." He's like,
Never.
"I'm always surprised when I get invited to this." And I was like, "Yeah, like church and state is kosher for us, right?"
Dude,
And I told
I
him
think
about
it's-
meaty pity. I told him about meaty pity, that concept. So while
He's probably like, yeah, whatever, bro.
yeah, I get my stage time. But regardless, some candidates I know, I won't say their names, but they listen to this podcast. They felt the same way. They have the same opinion. We didn't get invited to church. They've tried to go to church and speak. They get blocked out. Why should we invite them to Gurdwara? But
I mean,
but
it's
the
I think the
retort is,
church.
and Shinda, I think you'll agree with me, is like they can do what they want, but we've always embraced that, and like that's part of our ethos.
there's
I
an
don't know, man.
ethos to it, but then I think there has to be some sort of balance also.
Okay, I mean, should we be using religion in politics?
But maybe you don't
But see,
have
it's not
the
even about
candidates
religion and
there
politics,
speaking,
right?
but like just have there and be like, this is elections are happening, these are the platforms, these are the candidates. Decide to go vote.
So like, it's hard for me to go too deep into this because it's not like I have some sort of historical grounds to justify it, right? But like the Gurdwara for us are more than just a Gurdwara. They're a meeting place. They're a community center. They're where we go and we learn about what's going on around us too. It's not just we go there, listen to Katha Kir, then go home.
There are also our forts.
You know, there's a lot going on in the
We fight wars
Gurdwara.
out of there. We fight wars out of them.
No. Okay, and I can agree with the historical view of that. But
Not even historical,
today
current
is
in modern day, like in
not. I
Brampton
don't
especially.
think the Gurdwaras. I do not think the Gurdwaras now are a community center for a majority of the community.
I
Not
think-
even to 1%. I think you go there, you matatek, you listen to your pot and you jam. You do a kirtan, you go for a wedding. They're there for religious purposes. You're not. It's
You go in the Langar
Yeah.
Hall, you talk to people, you see what's going on. You go to samagams,
do
you meet
Go
people.
in the Langar Hall.
It's really cringe, Shinde. Shinde, it's really cringe when candidates are up there. You go there, you say your speech.
No, I
about
agree.
what your
I'm not
platform is,
disagreeing
and
with
you leave.
you.
But when you're going up there and you're just mudslinging other candidates rather than just saying what your platform is, it's just such a negative thing to do in such a
No.
positive
It should,
environment.
So I
should they
do
be at,
agree with you
should they be
on
at
certain.
Nugger Keith terms and all that? Like we've intertwined these guys like no tomorrow into like
You know what it
every
is.
event we have.
But it's also not historically, but like historically within the diaspora, where it's kind of like, listen, you want to meet a lot of Sikhs, you want me to introduce you to a lot of people, they're all going to be here at this time. You're more than welcome to come, and I can introduce you.
But do they do that in India?
Yeah,
When there's like a Diwali, was there a politician that stood up there and did a speech? I'm just curious. I have no context.
yeah,
on
yeah.
that.
India's even more intertwined with politics and thing than here.
Really?
Way more, buddy. This is tame
No,
compared to
I
there.
didn't think on the big events these guys would get a platform to go speak.
No. It's so bad. It's way more muddled there than it is here.
Hmm.
In
Have you
my
not seen the line bypass that Harmandir saw when a politician comes in?
yeah,
So that's a different story. I'm talking about
like I do
being
agree
able
with
to
what you
canvas
guys
and
are.
campaign, right?
I do agree with you. I think it's gotten much. I think it's gotten to a point where it's cringe, and that we should tone it down. But I think, and maybe you're right. Maybe the Gurdwara is not our social hub no more. Because it definitely was at one point. That's where
Yes.
that's the one place that everyone would just kind of meet. Maybe that was the case when our community was smaller, and now it's not that anymore, right? Maybe it's just way too industrialized for it to be that.
At
That could be,
9:30 when the
but
speeches were hitting at Purnamashi and Onyxar, there was probably like 20 people left in the room.
Yeah. No, I agree. Look, I do think we need to, one, tone down the number of speeches. Two, I think we need to be very specific and selective in who speaks, because I don't think it's
what they're talking about. I mean, like you listen to some of these politicians come up, and the other thing I'm sick of is the pandering. Is it the word? Like one of the counselors came up. He's like, these guys are my buddies, and I like butter chicken. I was so angry. I'm like, why are you talking to us like we fucking don't understand English? Talk about what you want to say.
Oh man, you're too old man angry.
No, man, that's
They're
not.
trying to say a couple of words in our language to be endearing.
No, the dude literally made a speech about how he likes butter chicken opposed to shipani or whatever it is. And that was his whole speech. And he goes, yeah, vote for me. I'm like, this motherfucker didn't talk about anything.
Oh, okay.
Didn't talk about anything. He's like, this Baji has been so nice to me. This Baji's been. I'm
How
like,
do we
dude, is
get
that
back
all?
on this? I thought we were talking about fireworks.
I don't know, man. I'm still mad. I'm still mad about the election.
This is a tell-all podcast, okay?
This is just to get it off the chest. Quickly talking. Rinku Sharma. Is it Rinku Sharma? The guy in UK. What's his name?
Oh,
Rishi Sonic.
Rishi Sonic.
yeah.
There we go.
I don't know who Rinku Sharma is.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's what
Get
I
your
see when I
eyes
see
checked,
his.
bro.
That's who I see when I see him up there. The prime minister
Can we
is
drop a
This is
link to
that's
that
racist.
podcast where he talked about him?
the yeah.
Box here.
All right, big box in the middle. Yeah, so the Prime Minister of UK is of questionable Indian descent. He's like from what?
Pakistan.
No,
Punjab.
no, but
His family back in the day is Pakistan.
no,
Like
but
us.
they're also from Africa. No. All right, whatever. Claim him however you want. But I was watching this one thing which was talking about how little Punjabi lineage. His family kind of like migrated a few places before they came to UK in the 60s.
He's not. Is he Punjabi? That's where his family's from.
Punjabi.
Is he
Chal,
Punjabi?
you can claim him however you want, but the gist of the thing is the Prime Minister of England is Punjabi or Indian, and the Mayor of London is Pakistani. So when they tell us to go home, where are you exactly telling us to go? Because we fucking run this country at this point. I thought that was kind of cute. But yeah, it's kind of wild that they almost brought Boris back. That's how
Crazy,
wild
man.
it was.
Even the imperialist country that took us over has elected a brown man, and us in Brampton still waiting.
Did they elect us, or did we just end up there by succession?
Rishi didn't get elected. Yeah, it's like I want to make that point clear. It's
Well,
so
elected by his
fucking cool.
peers. He was elected by his peers.
Yeah, but not by the public.
Well, they represent the public's voice, and therefore,
In a general election, oh no, I'm not disclaiming the validity of it. I just want to
Okay.
make the point. It is valid 100%. I want to make the point I don't think if it was a general election, if he would get elected.
Yeah. Oh, you
That's
never know though. I mean,
maybe,
they've had a
but
they've had
probably
a
not.
bad string. They might like, yo, all these guys have been useless, ladies included. And they went from Liz Truss was the last one.
Yeah.
Theresa May. They've had Boris, David Cameron.
If he does
Brexit
well, and
happened.
I hope
Maybe
he
they're
does.
like, hey, let's take a shot. Why not?
Maybe next American president will be a Gujarati guy who owns hotels in Atlanta, right?
They say that
That was very specific.
Well,
That's
it's the
good.
Gujarati community that has a lot of hotels.
I know. I just don't know why you said Atlanta.
it's just wild that UK is in this like spiral of shitty politicians. I'm sure maybe that's true for most of the world, but UK being this one legendary powerhouse of a colonial, whatever, I don't know,
mean,
amount of
Power,
adjectives,
power.
but power is in such a spiral that it's almost comedic at this point.
I mean, are we surprised? He's richer than the king. I mean, what's the big accomplishment?
He married
He
her.
has money, he has
apparently.
power. Yeah, he's incredibly wealthy. 800 million, just him. Is it 800 million? By his wife, but by proxy, but still he's rich.
Yeah, but fine. Talk about how he's rich, but he got rich after he got married. He was the normal rich before he got married. He got stupid rich after.
So he got
But-
wealthy. He's wealthy now.
But he's legit qualified, and then he go to fucking Oxford and then Princeton as well.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying from a political standpoint. I'm just saying the guy has power.
He's a
And,
smart kid with money.
yeah.
Saying more than
young.
saying more than most kids in Brampton right there. They
I
just
mean,
got
look,
money.
he's not a drama teacher or a insurance broker or
What other industry do you want to throw down the rabbit hole, right?
But I think
Go ahead.
he's a lifer politician. I think this is what he's done. He's done like investment banking or something.
I'm not sure actually, but he might be because he's only 42 in PM, right? So
Yeah, so are you guys impressed
Pretty
at all?
cool. That is pretty cool. But
I'm happy. I mean, it's a pat on the back for the Brown community.
Is he from Mocha in any way? Is this a Mocha self
I
pump
know.
in some degree?
But
Is
it's
this-
like, do you really? It's like do you want that job? The country's in chaos. Inflation's at 10.1. Like the Trump prime minister steps down in 6 weeks, and you're the guy who has to try to save it now. And if he doesn't,
You're the face of this destruction at this moment.
Yeah, but you're at the lowest. No, you're at the lowest point, anyways. Like, you can't.
yeah.
get
But
much
the
worse.
public rather hate him than the lady before him, or the guy before him.
You know what? He might get lucky.
He's fighting.
I
He's
don't wanna get into
essentially
deep
doing.
analytics,
He's
but-
essentially doing what Obama had to do, man. Obama came in because Bush.
Well,
what-
Harper came in with austerity measures and guided us through like our worst time as well. He might do the same thing.
Fair enough.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know much about him other than I look at him like, you look like a Rinku Sharma.
I want to know who Rinku Sharma is in your life because
Yeah.
the guy's probably listening like, yo, fuck this guy.
I don't know, man. I'll quickly trying to wrap this up. Did you guys talking about politics and all that? Did you guys watch the last episode, the season finale of the Dragons, House of Dragons?
I'm still on
Yeah.
episode 2, bro. You guys go for it.
This guy literally watched all the Lord of the Rings, but hasn't watched the House of the Dragon. That's significantly
Yo, it's
better.
not on any of the streaming services, so I haven't, and I can't be bothered downloading anymore.
It's on Crave.
I just haven't subscribed.
Um,
Man, inflation, man. Times are tough. I gotta watch out.
dude.
I haven't been
So
able to go on vacation either.
It's been a few weeks.
when she told her kid, can't even keep the name straight anymore. When she told her kid it's just a short flight over and they'll be all fine.
I knew that's when he was fucked.
I was like, yo, he's dead. Let's see how he dies. So in that sense, like House of Dragons is no longer like the, shockers that Game of Thrones was. I expected him to die, but it was still pretty cool how he did. That was fucking sick.
I think Game of Thrones only have one big moment though of like the shocking, like 2, Red Wedding and Cersei blowing up the.
And Ned was kind of shocking.
That's season 1. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I can agree with that. But that's it.
Those
not
are
like-
huge. Those are huge. You're talking about like big significant TV events, and you're like, yeah.
This guy,
No,
like, this guy
you're
just wants to
saying,
shit
like,
on
it's
Uncle
so
for another 5
shocking,
minutes.
like-
This guy's looking at that and he's like, all these lords are useless. None of them could friggin'. And I'm thinking, right, this guy's going off on the lords and she's doing the same thing. She's like, which lords can we bring on our side in this war? Robbie's like, fuck all these lords. They don't know shit.
Yeah, seriously. They're just uncles.
They're just
Uncles.
uncles.
Oh man. Um, but they give so many giveaways when they're like, when dragons fight dragons, something something happens. There's a code in there, and I was like,
I
fuck
thought
yeah,
it was
like dragon fight.
when dragons
I
fight
was,
dragons, everything's burned. Everything
yeah,
beneath them
yeah,
is burned.
yeah, something like that exactly. And that was the cue. It was like, oh, there's a dragon fight, and I was waiting for it, and it's so
I
cool. What I don't understand is like, what was the point of Arion or whatever? Did he just want the kid's eye? Because it looks like he didn't actually want to kill him.
He didn't want to kill him. He just wanted to torture him a little bit, like rough him up, really fuck him up, take an eye maybe. Um, and then when the dragons are like, "Nah, we're beefing on our own," that's when both kids are like, "Ah, fuck, we can't control our dragons."
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
as soon as he saw the
he really can't
dragon,
control his dragon. And it looks, I wonder if that will be an issue in other seasons later on.
part of why they have to get rid of their dragons, possibly.
Well, what happens? Like when we watch Game of Thrones, there are no dragons
Yeah,
and there are no Targaryens. So what the fuck happened? Maybe they couldn't control the dragons anymore.
it'll be interesting to watch that. But I don't know, man. This was a very political episode because they were just talking about aligning who can they get. They were like counting their votes. Who can we get? Whose bannerman can we bring over? And I was just thinking, like, man, this is the election all over again.
Yeah, I gotta have a table like that for my next.
That's such a dope ass table.
That'd be pretty sick.
I'm like, yo, that
I'm
table.
gonna have like the entire ward mapped out, like candles
With-
underneath Mombatiya.
That lights up with underneath from fire.
Hopefully it's not Dive from fucking a Diwali election.
The Diwali fireworks.
Remnants of firework packets.
I don't know. Seriously.
Oh man,
Oh, another honorable table mention. Sons of Anarchy had a pretty cool table as well.
Sons of Anarchy did have a cool table.
Yeah, the boardroom table with the skull in the middle.
Oh yeah, okay.
We should get a cool podcast table and then just do the podcast in person, and we can highlight the table when we do it.
We've been asking to do this podcast in person. You've kept saying no.
Yeah, because I realize it requires me to set up an area to put all the mics in, and then do the setup and
In other
destruction.
words, he doesn't want us in his house.
No, I just don't have a physical. I need a set place. If we could have a set place,
Tell us your wife hates us. We know.
tell us your wife hates us. Tell us your wife hates us.
Yeah, I think that the next bet for the next, we should try to be kingmakers and see how many politicians we can actually fool.
Whose candidate wins?
Whose candidate wins?
Oh, in the same writing.
I think Shindo's gonna have the most experience because this guy's already playing
And
chess while we're playing checkers.
I'm just saying, there's a way to manage uncles that you.
Oh, I don't have nothing against the uncles. It's just the few kingmakers. I think we've deciphered that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if the uncles want to be there and they're active, they pull votes. So why would I hate them? It's the kingmakers who aren't kingmakers.
They're the Aegons.
Dead in the eye that I'm gonna pull 200 votes for you, and then I never hear from them.
I feel like you just gotta be like, oh, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Look forward to it. Give me your number, and then
I'll be like, oh my god, that's fucking amazing. I'll call like any adult who's with me, like my chacha or my dad or my dad. Like, look what he said. Let's do it tomorrow, day after. Let's go meet.
smart
That's
man.
it.
All right, you guys got any last words? What's next for you guys? What's your future look like now that you've successfully contested a Brampton election?
Once again, I wasn't in the election.
I honestly want to hear about Nirbal's perspective. So hopefully you can get her on a pod soon.
I don't think it's going to be as angry as mine, but no, she was angry for the school zone. I think she's angry the fact that there was no change, not necessarily her. So, we'll bring her on. You guys can have fun talking about mental health.
Yeah. No. I do want to touch on. I think. Yeah, I'll touch on this. Losing a campaign, the first thoughts are, fuck, like, family aside, that they'll always love you and back you, but the people who you met during the campaign, who might have like vouched for you or like really rooted for you, made some efforts, you feel kind of bad. But more like, so there's like a shitty feeling about doing all this, which is why a lot of people may not want to do it.
Yeah.
There are highs as well, like you look at the numbers, you look at what you're able to do with the lack of resources you have, and then there's some pride to be taken, but it is fucking tough. So I just want to give a shout out to the people that helped me, man.
Still no shout out to his multimedia guy. I'm
No,
just
no,
putting
no,
that
no.
out there.
All right, and
Still not one shout out to the guy who literally did everything for
Here's a
him.
question.
Thanks to Nepal for countless hours of coaching me through policy.
How do you guys did it cross your mind at all saying, look, this was what I did in a month. Imagine if I put more effort into this. Did that ever come across? Like, I think I could have done this if I put more effort in?
So I think if it was a bigger position, definitely I think there would be worth in that in terms of pulling the vote. I guess trying to get your message out there, bigger platforms. For me, the thing that I thought was so easy was things like websites and social media, and it's just become so easy. And people go on like it's so hard. I was shocked how easy that aspect of it was. Like that is not difficult anymore. Like for anyone to make a website, make flyers, to make signs, these things are not difficult. These things don't require teams, But more time.
I need you for flyers, okay? I will.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I mean, you made some of yours as well, so it was. It's shockingly easy now compared to.
We haven't talked about this, and you mentioned it talking about media. The last video you did the day of, where was that the whole election? That was the best video you could have posted.
You were
Made me
like,
laugh. He's has a sweater on. He's drinking chow outside.
the fireplace and shit.
He's
I'm
so
like, who's this guy?
He's so comfortable with Crowley making this meme video. Where was this day one? That took a while for you to find that voice.
Yeah. So honestly, I did one take, and my wife's like, "Speak like you speak at events." I was like, "Oh, okay," and then I did that, and that's how it came out.
That video
And,
made me smile so hard. I was like, "Yo, this is
Yeah, me
awesome.
too.
Where the fuck is
So
this
good.
guy?"
Yeah. So I guess look, it's part of the learning curve.
So I would say the actual getting your message out there, the process, the build up, the things that I think would irritate a lot of candidates in the past, I think those things are easy now. And we got hacked as well. That was another.
Oh yeah,
big,
that was-
we got
Yeah, I
our
forgot your
Instagram got
Instagram
hacked.
hacked.
Yeah, which was interesting as well. But yeah, man, I think my irritation comes from the pulling the vote, Diwali, all these other things that, not so much for us and us winning, just for the turnout. It doesn't, a lot of candidates put a lot more work, even more than us, and had great messages, and they didn't get to pull their vote, and they worked hard. That's sad to see.
I am gonna maybe say something controversial at the very end. Fuck. Okay, I'm not gonna hold Diwali as a crutch. It did affect me, but it is my fault. I should have started earlier and got the list and numbers and people that had committed to vote for me by the first advance poll, and then I would have been able to push them out. So that's all.
I mean, to be fair, you decided to run only like 2 weeks before that.
Yeah.
Let's first let's all get we were the last on the last day.
Yeah, but in hindsight, like that, you gotta see all the variables and go back. I guess hindsight's 2020, but how could I have controlled it? So that's the only control I have. Because I'll give Guru's camp a great shout out. They got great numbers in 9 and 10, but it was because they started early, knocked really aggressively, and had their people.
Yeah.
They had great numbers comparatively for the advanced polls and other.
And we're talking about vote splits. Guru's vote got split with Gagan Lal, who is also going after the same base and going out with the same.
I didn't know that. I just thought it was them too.
I mean, Gagan got 2,000 votes.
Oh wow! So he actually made it. That's a big dent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the votes Gagan got would have more likely have transferred over to Guru before Gopi, because Gagan
The one
sexual
criticism of
allegations stuff.
Guru that I still get today, and I just went to dinner with a bunch of uncles who were supporting me. They said, "Who's this Guru guy? Like, we know nothing about him."
He's got 4 years now to make his name.
But he has the same. Like I said, he has that problem. He's gonna need the 4 years to make his name something else. The job ahead of him is way harder than if he had just come and blown out Gopi. I'm telling you, he's gonna have to do some crazy outreach. He's gonna have to build his name. You're gonna see nonstop social media from the guy.
He's in the community building phase. Yeah, he needs to hire Bob's social guy. That's what he needs to do.
Bob's sons, yeah.
Yeah,
Imagine it all comes together to form some super group.
Yeah.
But
Bob,
no,
fire my cousin. Sorry, Guru, fire my cousin. Hire Bob.
I think no, but I think you're right. No one knows him. It's the
And
truth, right? I mean, they all have that problem. Same thing. Navjeet's gonna have the same problem. People know her from the elections, but they don't know what the work she's done. So these 4 years are really about building their name up. Harkirat, on the other hand, has name recognition. People kind of know him. That's why it was so easy for him to win very handedly.
it's also why people
Just
didn't bother going up against him.
Maybe not so much, but Jaskudden's the one that always still throwing me off. I mean,
Because people know him.
Yeah, even if you're not in the know and you know the things that he's associated with, yeah,
Because
that's
his
the
name
one
is in the
that's
media. Like,
yeah, it's a weird one, right? But then there's guys like Southpaw Johal. I think he's lost a few times,
Yeah.
so
and
but
he
I-
won handedly as well.
I'd be remiss if I don't mention Tanvir Taliwal. We both joked many times how it'd be so funny to have two Taliwals on the board. But now this is over.
And we have zero dollar balls on the board.
Yeah, I mean, zero Taliwals on the board. I did hear a lot of uncles who were down to support Harkirat, were down to support Guru, but when it came to trustee, they said Satpal Joel's been trying for so long.
Yeah.
And he's tried so hard that they will not go with the slate that's been made. And they will go against the grain and vote for Satpal Johal. And that's a tough nut to crack.
But kudos to the man. He's been trying so hard, right?
So all you're saying is I got to put my name on
inspiration.
3 more
That's my
times.
inspiration.
Just put my name on it again and go again.
Yeah, apparently it's been 20 years.
If you were like if you were what's the other big dissy word? 2 and 6 is going to be the next one once all these PRs kind of clear out and become citizens if they're still living here. Ward 6 is huge. It's ungodly how many people actually new houses are still being built there. So you should put your name on that ballot. Go for it, Shinda.
I felt like this was a lot of effort. I don't know if I could repeat it next time. I'm just exhausted.
My wife does. I'm like, yo, we want to are we reusing these signs? She goes, never. I was like, all right, cool.
You use them for the kids. Let them build a little tent out of them or porkers.
Mine are already in the garden as long with the garden stakes. The stakes are in the garden.
biggest waste of money in election signs. The sign wars were useless.
I just remember
offline, Robbie. We're gonna compare budgets.
All right.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
do that.
On that note, man, thank you guys for listening. And as always, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube if you're on YouTube. And if you've made it this far in the podcast, please comment W just so that we know you've made it.
Or let us know why I should stay in Brampton. Let me know. Because
if you think there's anything redeeming, and even if you don't, just hit that comment button just with a thumbs up, just to let us hit that algo.
And don't tell me Brampton has good food. I don't care. That
Yo,
can't be it.
Brampton has no good ramen places. What the fuck is wrong with Brampton? I was so cheesed. I was trying to find good ramen on Uber
I don't
Eats.
because maybe there's no Japanese people here.
We've gotten decent sushi
Crazy,
now,
right?
It sucks, man. We need good ramen. I want a counselor who will promise to pull ramen industry into Brampton.
Saga. Just go to Saga.
This is the reason. This is the reason why we need to leave. Right here, this guy. I need a counselor who's going to give me a good restaurant.
Look, 2 things I want from my counselor. I want them to attract an attractive ramen place, and I want them to ban fireworks.
Keenan's is a good wings. Attaboy, Dennis.
The fuck am I gonna do with some wings?
On that note,
Cheers, everybody. Take it easy.
Peace.
Jeez.